Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are back with another tier list, and in today's tier list, I'm going to be ranking Barcelona's last 12 exits when it comes to European football. And the reason why I say European football and not the UCL is because obviously, as you guys know, Barca the last couple years, we've been forced to play in the Europa League, so I also added the 2 Europa League exits in there, as you can see them at the end. And yeah, man, this video is going to be kind of depressing. I don't like reminiscing on these games because obviously they're all very depressing to me. We have every single game here, by the way. I should have mentioned this at the start, but it's every game post Barca winning the UCL, their third UCL in Rome in 2009. So obviously you guys can see the games here in chronological order. We have the game against Inter, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid again, Juventus, Roma, Liverpool, Bayern, PSG, Frankfurt, and obviously the most recent one, Man United. The way I'm going to rank these games is basically we're going to look at the season that Barca had, just how much it hurt, honestly, how much it broke me. Honestly, like we're just going to take everything into account, like the whole context of the season, the squad that we had, the expectations that we had going into the season, and just talk about the whole thing. So yeah, this should be really depressing. It should not be fun whatsoever. It's not going to be fun whatsoever. I can already tell. But I hope you guys enjoy it. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section if you're a Barca fan. How much of these losses, each of them, like, how much did they affect you emotionally or mentally? And yeah, man, this should be really not fun, like I said. Let's start ranking some Barca losses. First up, we have the 2010 season. And in this season, Barcelona got knocked out by Jose Mourinho's Inter Milan in the UCL semifinals on an aggregate score of 3-2. And this one to me is going to go in I cry. And I think most Barca fans will concur that this is one of the worst losses that I've ever suffered as a fan of this team. This is a loss that keeps me up at night. Truly, when it's 11 o'clock at night and I'm just rolling in bed and I can't sleep, I'm thinking about this game. When hopefully 60, 70 years from now, when I'm on my deathbed about to die, this is going to be one of the few games that comes to my mind. That before I take my last breath, I will remember this game and just think, how the fuck did we lose? How did we let this opportunity pass us by? The previous year, 08-09, Barcelona completed the greatest season in the history of football, of club football at least. Winning the Sextuple, winning the treble, and just being the most dominant team that any of us have ever seen. And I really thought, I think most Barca fans, if you were alive to watch this team, and if you remember watching this team, I think most of us thought 2010 was going to be just as good. Pep Guardiola, his second season as manager, he's going to keep getting even better. Messi just won the Ballon d'Or the previous year. He's going to keep improving and getting better. And the squad was just going to get better overall because most of our great players were so young. Xavi was still younger. Iniesta was still younger. Busquets was still younger. He had just gotten called up to the first team the previous season. Piqué was still younger. Puyol was basically in his prime. Dani Alves. All of our players were just basically going to get better because they were young but just had more experience after winning all those trophies. And it turns out we only won 1 trophy this year. Also, we got rid of Eto'o and Brian Zlatan, but that to me was a good decision. In hindsight, like at the time, not in hindsight, but at the time I thought that was a good decision. In hindsight, it's bad now because we know Eto'o won the treble with this Inter team, and Zlatan, barely played the second half of the year. But Zlatan was younger, he was one of the best strikers in the world, Eto'o had problems with Pep, so we let him go. We also brought in Maxwell. So the team was basically just as good. Henry was older, but still, we had Pedro, who got called up from the first team. So the team was good. But then we ran up against Jose Mourinho's Inter Milan. And, that first leg, we go up 1-0 early in the 19th minute. I think Pedro scores a goal after a great run from Maxwell. Just a beautiful pass from Maxwell to cut it back inside, and Pedro scores. And then after that, we conceded 3 unanswered goals. We conceded 3 goals on the bounce. I think it was Schneider, Maicon, and Milito that scored the 3 goals. And we just got dominated in that second half. Jose Mourinho sat back and just counterattacked us to death and had one of the greatest game plans in the history of football. And then that second leg, to me, is the greatest moment of Jose Mourinho's managerial career. It's better than 2 weeks later when he won his second UCL against Bayern Munich in Madrid. It's better than when he won the UCL against Monaco with Porto. It's better than all those because he completely dominated that Barcelona team without basically having the ball. One of the greatest defensive game plans I've ever seen in my entire life. And they were down to 10 men, by the way, for the second half of that game for like the last 20 minutes. And just completely dominated us in every single facet. Barca, we scored in like the, 83rd minute, something like that. Now, there was a handball that was called because Boyan scored a goal, but there was a handball that was called that wasn't actually a handball. And if Barca would have scored that goal, we actually would have won that game. But still, shit happens. It was before VAR. I'm not gonna think about that too much. But man, this picture pisses me off so much. Looking at this fucking picture right now of him running around the Camp Nou, putting his fucking hand up in the air like this, his finger up in the air. This guy was a piece of shit. He was a bastard, but he was so good. You can't deny how good this guy was. This is Jose Mourinho's prime. This is why they called him the special one. That managerial performance was insane, bro, what he did. And the way that Inter team played for him, it's crazy, bro. That team, look, in terms of on-paper talent, that Barca team was better in my opinion. Now, trophy cabinet, Inter was better because they won the treble. They're the first and only Italian team to this day to win the treble. Inter is. Pandev, Lucio, Milito, Schneider, Cambiaso, Lucio, Maicon, Eto'o as well. This team was crazy good. But to me, and people might think I'm crazy, I'm biased, okay, whatever you want to say, I still believe to my I'll believe to my dying days that this Barca team in 2010 was still the best team in Europe. Now, obviously, Inter fans will disagree, and you have every right to disagree because your team has a silverware to back it up. But this Barca team, man, you know what pisses me off the most about the season, why I cry so much? Barca had the chance to win the UCL in Madrid Stadium. We would have beaten Bayern Munich that year. There's no question in my mind about that. We would have beaten Bayern Munich. And we had this chance to win it in their stadium, which would have been the biggest bragging rights of all time. To be able to say that Barca won a UCL in the Santiago Bernabeu would have been amazing, bro. It would have been so amazing to say, but obviously it didn't happen. Did I talk about Barca's goal in this game? By the way, Busquets, Piqué scored a really nice goal. He did like a little turn because Piqué, we always know he was like a pseudo striker, and he always played up front. Basically, in the last, like when Barca were losing, like 70 minutes and up, Piqué was playing as a number 9, and he scored a really nice goal in that game. But they just completely shut us down, man. That they completely shut us down. And yeah, man, all props to Inter for doing that. But yeah, this game keeps me up at night. This Barca team was so good. And yeah, this like Barca in this season, by the way, in La Liga had 99 points. This Barca team was that good. 99 points in La Liga up to that point. That was the greatest La Liga season of all time. They only lost one game in the whole year. Almost went unbeaten, invincible in the La Liga season. But Jose Mourinho, man, that Inter team, I mean, they handed it to us on that day, and you know, props to them. But yeah, it's definitely gonna go and I cry. It still hurts. 2012, again, Barca lost in the UCL semifinals, again on a 3-2 aggregate scoreline, but this time it was to Chelsea, and this one to me is again gonna go and I cry. Man, this one again keeps me up at night. This was Pep's last season at the club. It was arguably Messi's prime. Obviously, this was the year that he scored 91 goals in the calendar year. Obviously, 73 goals in the season, 11-12 season. And this team, bro, I mean, we were dealing with injuries at this point, but this team was still so good. What I said with Inter, to me, this Barca team on paper was better than Chelsea. But Chelsea, man, they just like, some Chelsea fans might tell you this is revenge for 09. Now, I made a whole video about that game and why I don't think it's that controversial, why I don't think it was a robbery. But again, I get why Chelsea fans disagree with that because there were some, you know, very controversial moments in that game. I just don't think it was as big of a robbery as everybody says it is. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is, Chelsea fans will tell you this was revenge. And that Chelsea team, bro, they honestly outplayed us through 2 legs. This Barca team, they didn't win La Liga because we finished with 91 points because Real Madrid had arguably the greatest La Liga season of all time. That Jose Mourinho team, they finished with, I think, I know 100 points. The first La Liga team ever to get 100 points in the season, triple digits, and they did that. So Barca did not win the league. We won the Copa del Rey, however, and we had the chance to win the UCL. We lost the first leg 1-0 at Stamford Bridge. I think Drogba scored a goal, and then the second leg, all we had to do was score 2 goals and not concede. Which for this Barca team with that version of Messi and those players, it was going to be, in my opinion, easy. You know, we go against Chelsea, a Chelsea team that by the way, unlike Inter, did not win the treble. They won a double. They won the FA Cup and the UCL, but in the league they finished 6th. They sacked their manager mid-season. They got rid of Andres Villas-Boas and brought in Roberto Di Matteo, and that changed their whole season. And that second leg, bro, you know, Iniesta scores a goal early on in the first half. I thought Barca were cruising. We're going to win. We're going to score 2 goals. And then Messi has a chance to score the second goal. And Messi missed the penalty. He hit the crossbar. And that's, to me, one of the biggest blemishes in Messi's career. One of the only blemishes in Messi's career, him missing that penalty. Because, man, if he scores that, I think Barca are in pole position to win that game. After Messi missed that penalty, Ramirez scored his goal. A beautiful goal, by the way. A chip. I mean, he just had an insane chip. Or no, Ramirez scored the goal. Then Messi took the penalty because, Ramirez scored the goal and then Messi missed his penalty. And then in the second half, obviously, we know Torres scored that goal, which we're seeing in the picture here. And Chelsea ended up going all the way to Munich and beating Bayern Munich in the final. This one hurts man because, again, like I said, it was Pep's last season. This Barca team, however, like I said, they were kind of dealing with injuries because Isaac Cuenca actually played the majority of the second half of that season. He actually played in the first leg and the second leg of the UCL because David Villa tore his meniscus, I'm pretty sure, in the Club World Cup in January against Al Saad. Alexis Sanchez dealt with some injuries that year as well. Pedro was good, Messi was good, but still that Barca team was just not fully healthy. But yeah, this Barca team, to me, if we would have won that game, we would have won the final against Bayern Munich. But, you know, Chelsea, props to them, man. They won that game and you know, they were resilient. That Chelsea team never quit. Barca kind of got complacent in this game, I think. I think once Iniesta scored the first goal, Barca thought it was going to be easy to beat Chelsea. And Chelsea proved to you throughout that season that they were not going to give up. Like a couple weeks after that in Munich, you know, Muller scores that goal in like the 81st minute. Bayern Munich think they're going to win the game. And Drogba scores a goal and Chelsea end up winning that final. Because that Chelsea team was that resilient. So yeah, to me, again, Pep's last season, I wish he would have gone out with more of a bang, you know, winning the biggest trophy of them all. But unfortunately, that cannot happen. So for me, it's going to go in I cry. This Barca team was good, and I think we were better than that Chelsea team, honestly. Moving on to 2013, in this season, Barcelona lost 7-0 to Bayern Munich in the UCL semifinals. And this might be shocking to some of you, but I'm not going to put this one in I cry. I'm going to put it in pretty bad. Unlike the games in I cry, this Barca team to me was not that good. I think Barca in 2010 was amazing. Like I said, I think Barca in 2012 was really good as well. And I think Barca, honestly, you could argue on paper. Sorry, I had the burp. were better than both of those teams. I honestly think you could, and I made my argument as to why I do think they're better. On paper, there's no argument for Barca to be better than this Bayern Munich team. This Bayern Munich team is simply one of the greatest teams to ever play the game. They won the treble that season, and their squad quality is as good as you'll see in the history of football. I mean, go look at that starting 11. It was fucking insane. Hence why they won the treble. And that Barca team was kind of dealing with a hangover after Pep leaving. In La Liga, we were really good. We had 100 points in La Liga, which is obviously amazing. One of the greatest La Liga seasons of all time. But this team, to me, was just not that good. Honestly, it wasn't. Some of the older players are kind of getting phased out of this team. They're just kind of past their prime at that point a little bit. Guys like Puyol and, some of the other senior veterans on the team. And then also, Messi dealt with injuries. And also, the biggest elephant in the room is that Tito Vilanova, Barca's manager at the time, he was dealing with a terminal illness. Sorry, did I just say terminal anal? Oh my god. Sorry, Tito. Rest in peace, man. I did not mean to disrespect him like that. I'm not going to cut this out because I am human, guys. Believe it or not, I sometimes mess up my words. It doesn't seem like it, but I do mess up my words. Tito Vilanova was dealing with a terminal illness at the time. Obviously dealt with cancer and ended up passing away at the end of the season. And those Barca teams were just I think that Barca team was just kind of emotionally in shock. Again, I don't think if Tito Vilanova would have been healthy, we'd beat that Bayern team because that Bayern team was that good. But still, I think that kind of played a role in it. And for me, again, like I said, this Barca team was just not as spectacular as I think most people thought it was, because obviously if you look at the La Liga season, you're like, oh my god, this Barca team is one of the best teams of all time. That is far from it. So yeah, for me, it's going to go into pretty bad. That first leg was painful, man, because, 4-0 at their stadium is crazy, and then 3-0 at our stadium is fucking even more crazy. I've rewatched this game, by the way. If you want to see my reaction to all 7 goals, it's on my page somewhere. Along with I've rewatched all 3 of the games that I've ranked so far. Actually, no, I didn't rewatch the Inter game. I rewatched the Bayern game and the Chelsea game, if you guys want to go see that. But yeah, man, to me, again, like I said, good team, decent Barca team, not good, not great. So for that reason, it's going to go into pretty bad. Moving on to 2013, 2014, this is one of the Barca losses that I remember the least. Because obviously, every time Barca lose in Europe, I'm distraught because it's my team. I live and die by this team. So every time we lose in Europe, it's like the worst, the end of the world for me. But to me, this one's one of the ones that I kind of remember the least in a way. I don't know why. But in this year, Barcelona lost in the UCL quarterfinals to Atletico Madrid, 2-1 on aggregate. And this one to me is going to go and hurts a little, honestly. Again, I don't think this Barca team was that good. That team didn't win a single trophy. Tata Martino was the coach, and he was not good whatsoever. It was Neymar's first season at the club. And this team, again, it just wasn't great in my opinion. This wasn't that great of a team. And we got outplayed through 2 legs in that game, in that UCL. I mean, in the first leg, Neymar scored a goal off a great pass in the second half from Iniesta. I remember like it was yesterday, actually. I remember that goal so vividly. Neymar opened up his hips and slotted it to the far post. But that pass from Iniesta was beautiful. And then they scored, that game ended 1-1. They scored a goal from Diego. That's who it was. A fucking banger. Oh my god, he scored a sick goal. I remember that goal. He scored from outside the box, top corner, I don't know how many yards out, 40 yards out. An insane goal. One of the best goals, honestly, that I've ever seen in my life. One of the most underrated goals of all time because people don't really talk about that goal, but it was insane. Go back and actually, I'll play it on the screen right now if you guys can see it. He scored a banger, bro. A fucking banger. And then the second leg, I think, who was it that scored? I think David Villa passed the ball. I don't know. Someone scored for them. They won that game. I think it was Diego Costa, maybe. I'm not sure. But that Atletico Madrid team was really good. That team won the league and was this close. Was a minute away from winning the UCL. And they were just better than that Barca team, in my opinion. Messi was good. But it was Neymar's first year, and the attacking options on this team were just not that great. The defense was terrible, in my opinion. So for that reason, it's going to go into hurts a little. It was just it was weird, bro. After years of making the semifinal, this is the first year that we got to the quarterfinals only, and losing to another Spanish team, it just kind of, I don't know, I just don't really remember. I remember it pretty well because I just talked about the goals, obviously, but it just doesn't hurt that much, so I'm going to put it in hurts a little. Next, we got 2015, 2016, I cry. Similar to 2010, this Barca team was coming off winning a treble, one of the greatest teams of all time. MSN in their peak, arguably better than the previous season because Neymar was insanely good this season. By the way, this year Barca lost again in the UCL quarterfinals, this time 3-2, again against Atletico Madrid. So, Atletico Madrid knock us out in the quarterfinals. We win the UCL, Atletico Madrid knock us out in the quarterfinals. So they were responsible for 2 exits in that 3-year span. Neymar, like I said, was really, really good that year. When Messi was injured, he was just dominating. Suarez won the Golden Boot and had, to me, the greatest season of his career. More than Liverpool, more than the previous season. He was just a machine that year. Messi dealt with injuries, but when he played, he was amazing. And this Barca team was utterly dominant, bro. It was utterly, utterly dominant. This team won a double. And, I think they could have won a treble. But unfortunately, man, it wasn't meant to be. This Barca team, I've talked about this before. I actually reacted to this game. If you want to go see it, again, it's on my page. But this Barca team, post-international break in March, just came back with a different mentality, and they started losing games on the balance. We lost the Clásico after the international break. We lost this game. We lost the game to Real Sociedad, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. And MSN just stopped clicking, man. And in these 2 legs, Suarez was really the only member of MSN that showed up. He scored a double in the first leg, but then in that second leg, we got robbed. There was a penalty that wasn't called a penalty. That still haunts me to this day. And then, but Griezmann scored a double. Ter Stegen could have saved that penalty. He was just fucking close to saving that goddamn penalty. Why didn't you save the fucking penalty? Anyway, man, but this team, it just breaks my heart because I really believe this team was better than the trouble-winning team in 2014, 2015. I truly believe that. In my core, I believe that. But it just, they don't have the trophy cabinet to show for it. Similar to 2010, that Atletico Madrid team was really, really good. Again, made the UCL final. Didn't almost win La Liga, but finished 3 points off. I think winning La Liga, they finished with 88 points, if I'm not mistaken. Barca finished with 91. Real Madrid finished with 90. But yeah, man, we had so many chances that we didn't convert in these games, and it haunts me to this day. It truly does haunt me to this day. It's going to go in I cry for sure. Moving on to 2017, in this season, Barcelona lost in the UCL quarterfinals to Juventus 3-0 on aggregate. I cry, bro. I fucking cry. I have not rewatched this game. Here's the thing about this Barca team. Do I think this Barca team was necessarily great? No, absolutely not. It wasn't a great team whatsoever. We didn't win the league. We won the Copa del Rey, and obviously we didn't win the UCL. It was Neymar's last season at the club. Also, Lucho's last season at the club. But the reason why this hurts so much, bro, is because the context behind it. The previous round, in the round of 16, we all know what happened. Arguably the greatest comeback in UCL history against PSG. We conceded 4 goals in the first leg, which is unacceptable in and of itself. But still, we let it slide because we won the second leg after fucking scoring 6 past them. And one of the greatest nights I've ever lived as a Barca fan. Not the best. I actually answered that question in my hot takes video. Someone said that was the best night in Barca history. I said it's one of the best, but not the best. Not even close. It's like a top 10 night in Barca history. Maybe top 15. What the fuck am I talking about? I'm going on these stupid tangents. It was one of the greatest nights in Barcelona history, obviously. Sergio Roberto scores a goal. Neymar has a 10 out of 10 performance. And I really thought after that game, we're going to go on and win the whole thing. We're going to carry that momentum and win the whole tournament. And then just for the next round to get dominated by Juventus 3-0, I think we honestly created 2 clear-cut chances in this game, in these 2 legs. In 180 minutes of football, I think we created 2 clear-cut chances. And they weren't really even great chances. I think Iniesta missed a chance in the first leg. But Juventus was just better than us, bro. They scored 3 goals in the first leg. Dybala went crazy in that game in their stadium. And then in the second leg, they just kind of put it on cruise control. They let their defense do the talking. That Juventus team, you guys got to remember, that's one of the... that team was amazing defensively. And the only team that could really score past them was Real Madrid. Real Madrid put 4 past that team in the UCL final, which is crazy to me because that Juventus team, like I said, was so good defensively. Barca could not find a single gap to attack. They were pretty solid at the back. I mean, they really didn't have many flaws at the back. They had Bonucci, Barzagli, Inclini, Dani Alves, Alexandro. This team was really, really good. They had 2 great strikers at the time, Mandzukic and Higuain. They had Pjanic, they had Querida. This team was so good. And Barca, we just couldn't do anything with them. We lost that game to a better team. But again, it hurts because of what happened against PSG. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in I cry. Moving on to 2018. In this season, Barcelona lost 4-4 on away goals to Roma in the UCL quarterfinals, and this one to me is gonna go in I cry. Obviously, oh man, this one hurts. I've rewatched this game, obviously. How Ernesto Valverde kept his job after this, I really don't know. How he didn't make a sub until the 80th minute of this game, I truly don't know. We had Iniesta and Sergio Roberto out on the wings. They couldn't do anything. They were dominating our midfield. They were beating us in every aerial battle. Dzeko just went crazy in this one. Manolas, we can see the fucking picture here. It still aches my heart to watch. Just look at this fucking picture. And man, this is look, do I think this Barca team was going to win the UCL? No, but at least lose in a more, just this is so demeaning the way they lost, bro. So embarrassing. So embarrassing. Messi this year was amazing. Suarez was kind of starting to get past it. And yeah, bro, it was crazy. That first leg, we played good but not great. We won by 3 goals, but if you watch that leg, we did not play great in that game. And then Roma in the second leg, just, they took their chances and they just dominated us. They wanted it more than us. That team did not want it. They wanted it more than us, and hence why they won. And they went on to almost come back against Liverpool in the next leg. Actually, remember, they almost came back against Liverpool in the semifinals to nearly make a UCL final. But yeah, man, this Barca team, this loss, it sucks. It really does suck. Moving on to Anfield. And this year, Barcelona lost 4-3 on aggregate in the UCL semifinals. Oh, man. Actually, you know what? We got to make a new tier. We got to make a new tier. Because this one stands alone. We're going to call this one Anfield. Fuck, I spelled it wrong. Anfield. This one stands alone. Yeah, man. The worst loss I've ever suffered supporting any team in my life. I rewatched this game for my 1,000 subscribers special, which feels like it was years ago, but it just happened last month. And you guys are crazy, by the way. Thank you so much for the support. I just remember that. I reacted to this game late December. We're already almost at 6K, which is wild. But yeah, if you have not seen the reaction, you can go check it out. It's on my page. That was the first time I had watched any clip of this game since it happened in 2019. And to this day, it's the worst loss. I will never get over this loss. I truly know that till my dying days, I will never get over this loss. This loss will keep me up at night forever. And it's not just because we were up 3-0, it's because we wasted one of the greatest seasons a player's ever had. And because the fact that even Ernesto Valverde, the fucking ad's playing, sorry, I just saw that. It was because Ernesto Valverde didn't get sacked after this. He didn't get sacked after Rome, but he didn't get sacked after this. And Messi carried that team and put them in pole position to win a treble. And that fucking team, that group of guys let him down. And they should be ashamed of themselves for that. And I, as a Barca fan, am ashamed that I supported this club. Because we were this close to winning a treble and we bottled it towards the last weeks of the season. We lost the Copa del Rey final. We obviously lost this game. But this is the one that we're really talking about. This is the game that will always haunt me. Because we would have destroyed Spurs in the UCL final that year. We would have mopped the floor with that fucking team. And Messi would have cemented himself and had arguably his greatest season of all time. And we couldn't do it because those players couldn't back him up. And that manager is a fucking bum. And he should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves, all of them, for that performance. So for me, Anfield gets its own tier. The worst loss I've ever suffered supporting any team. I still don't know. I'll never get over it. I truly won't. Moving on to 2020. In this season, Barcelona lost in the UCL quarterfinals to Bayern Munich 8-2. I'm going to try and say that. I just try to say that without laughing. I can't. I cannot believe we lost 8-2. I can't believe that's a real fucking scoreline. And we also lost 7-0 to them. This Bayern team, oh my God, bro. I fucking hate Bayern. I truly do. I've also rewatched this game, by the way, if you want to go check it out. This one to me is going to go into pretty bad, and it's really just because of the scoreline. This Barca team had no business. Like, again, it's similar to 2013. That Bayern team is one of the greatest teams of all time. They won a sextuple that year, and, they were just insanely dominant, and that Barca team was so bad. So bad, bro. I watched every game that Barca played this season because I watched every game that Barca play every season, and I don't know how I sat through however many games they played that year. Because that Barca team was so hard to watch. Again, it was Messi basically carrying the fucking team, and it was just bad. It was like the hangover from losing to Anfield that carried over to this season for the whole year. And in that game, bro, it was embarrassing. The fact that we were actually tied at 1.11 in this game, we actually had the chance to take the lead. Busquets, if he just gets a little bit on that header, we score that goal because it hit the post. We scored that goal, and we're winning 2-1. But then Bayern Munich put it in fucking 6th gear and they just dominated us. Philippe Coutinho, they got a wheel on that to Bayern Munich because he sucked so much for us. He scored a double in this game. Philippe Coutinho scored a double against us. And, he has maybe 3 memorable moments in Barcelona, in my opinion, in his whole time at the club. And he scored a double for Bayern Munich on that day. And the only reason why it's going pretty bad is, again, because of the scoreline. Because if Barca would have lost maybe even 3 or even 4-0 in this game, I would have put it in Hurts a little because, again, that Barca team, I had no expectations whatsoever for that team. That team was shit. And that Bayern team, like I said, is one of the greatest teams of all time. But still, bro, losing 8-2, I had to sit there. I sat there and watched all 8 goals that Bayern conceded. That Barca conceded. I don't know why. I thought maybe my deluded brain thought that Barca would actually be able to come back. I'm deluded with this team, bro. I just can't help it. It's in my blood. I'm deluded with this fucking team. I'll watch every single game that they play, no matter if we're losing or winning. I just can't turn that shit off. But yeah, to me, bro, it's gonna go into pretty bad. I mean, it's, again, not a great Barca team. Didn't really have high expectations for it. Moving on to 2021, this year Barcelona lost in the UCL round of 16. Our worst exit in, however many years, to PSG, and it finished 5-2 on aggregate. And this one, to me, is going to go into Hurts a little. Again, this Barca team was not good. I had no expectations for this team. It was Messi's last season at the club, and he was basically carrying that bunch of players. Griezmann was there, but he was decent. And just the team overall wasn't really that great, in my opinion. I think most Barca fans can agree with that. In that first game at the Camp Nou, remember there was no fans, and we actually scored first. I think Messi scored a pen, if I'm not mistaken. And then they just dominated us. Mbappe scored a hat-trick. Moise Kean scored in the 70th minute, I'm pretty sure 75th minute around there, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. And then the second leg, Messi scored a fucking banger. A banger to make it 4-2. And then we could have made it 4-3 if Messi scores the pen, and then Barca would have had the momentum. Because honestly, in that second leg, Barca came out as the better team, and we actually were putting on the pressure on them. We missed a bunch of chances, and Messi unfortunately missed the pen, but he scored a banger in that game. One of the best goals he scored in his career, in my opinion. Outside of the box, a fucking rocket pass. I think it was Keylor Navas, if I'm not mistaken. He was a keeper for them. But unfortunately, then Mbappe scored a pen, and the rest is history. We lost by 3 goals. That Barca team, again, I had no expectations for it. I'm kind of sad that we lost in the round of 16 because I was not used to seeing that ever in my life. Barca obviously always made the quarterfinals or beyond that. Round of 16 was kind of crazy to live through that. But again, that Barca team was round of 16 quality. That's what it was. We won that one trophy that season. It was because Messi carried us there, the Copa del Rey. But Ronald Koeman had no idea what the fuck he was doing. And that Barca team overall, like I said, was so young and just not great. So for that reason, it's going to go into Hurts a little. Moving on to 2021, this year, Barca lost in the Europa League after getting knocked out in the UCL group stages against Eintracht Frankfurt in the quarterfinals. And these games finished, this leg finished 4-3, and this one to me is going to go in pretty bad. Simply because I believe that Barca team was good enough to win the Europa League. That's one of the bigger blemishes on Xavi's resume, in my opinion. Losing that leg to Eintracht Frankfurt and the first leg, because that Barca team, like I said, we were coming off a great run. We were beating Valencia by 4. We beat Valencia by 4 goals. We beat Atletico Madrid by 4-2. We beat Napoli in the preliminary round. We destroyed them that year. We also beat Galatasaray in the round of 16, and then we get to the quarterfinals against Frankfurt, which were a good team. But in my opinion, we had the better team. And in the first leg, we get a result away from home. We finished 1-1. Ferran Torres scored a goal for us in the second half. And then, we're going into the second leg. At home, theoretically, we should be winning that game. We score 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals. We win that game. We go on to the semifinal. And who knows, maybe we can win the Europa League with Xavi's first season at the club. And, that, like I said, that game was supposed to be at home. But that game had more Frankfurt fans than Barca fans. And to me, that's one thing that I still can't wrap my mind across. How we allowed that to happen as Barca fans, or just like the club in general. That stadium was packed with Frankfurt fans. And the scoreline, like I said, this aggregate finished 4-3, but that's close. That just sounds closer than what it was, because this game was 3-0 at one point. Like the second leg was 3-0 at one point. Eintracht Frankfurt were beating us 4-1 on aggregate at one point. They scored 3 goals. They scored 3 bangers, by the way. I mean, I remember that goal that guy scored from outside of the box. And then we scored 2 goals. I think Memphis Depay scored a goal and Busquets scored a banger as well. But this game was really never even close. The scoreline is deceiving. Eintracht Frankfurt outplayed us through 2 legs, honestly. Through 2 legs, they were the better team than us. Xavi got totally outclassed by Oliver Glasner. I think that was the Frankfurt manager at the time. I'm pretty sure he was. And, they ended up winning the whole thing. So, Frankfurt ended up winning the whole thing and going on to the UCL next season. They were a good team, but we were the better team, and we should have won that game. So, for that reason, it's going to go to pretty bad. Again, I can't put it in I cry because it's a Europa League, so I don't really give a fuck about that. But I do think that this team deserves to go, a little bit further, in my opinion. And finally, 2023, we lost to Man City in the preliminary round in the Europa League. That aggregate score finished 4-3, and this one to me is going to go in pretty bad as well. This Barca team, we shouldn't have lost that game. We shouldn't have lost that tie. In my opinion, we were the better team than Man City, on paper at least. That was still when Erik ten Hag was being one of the best managers in the world. So, Xavi and Erik ten Hag were still looked at were looked upon as great managers. But Erik ten Hag outcoached Xavi through 2 legs. In the first leg, we tied 2-2. I know Rafinha scored a goal. I know Marcos Alonso scored a goal. And Marcus Rashford scored for them, because that was when Rashford was in the middle of that insane run that he won on last season, where he was one of the best players in the world. And Koundé, I'm pretty sure, scored an own goal for us. But they were the better team, in my opinion, in that first leg. And then that second leg, Fred had a fucking masterclass. I don't know what the fuck that was. And Anthony scored a goal for them. And, Fred was just, I just remember Fred in that game and how good he was, just everywhere on the pitch. And they beat us 2-1. Lewandowski scored a pen for us. We actually scored first in this game. But they ended up beating us because they were the better team, in my opinion. They played like the better team. And, Xavi got outclassed by Erik ten Hag, which is crazy to say because Erik ten Hag is about to get the boot at United. But there's no denying, last season he was really good. He actually got that team to play for him. This season it's a little bit different. But yeah, this one to me is going to go in pretty bad because this Barca team was really, really good. We got reinforcements in the summer. Xavi's second season, his first full season at the club. We brought in Lewandowski, who was actually still playing semi. This is where the Lewandowski's downfall actually started. In this tie, in this leg against United, that's where he ghosted both of these legs. We brought in Koundé. We brought in, a bunch of good players. Balde got called up. Pedri was fully healthy again. This team was, was supposed to be good, and I actually thought we could win the Europa League. Silly me, finally win a fucking trophy. It's not even a big competition. It's the fucking Europa League. We couldn't even win that. Got knocked out in the preliminary round. Couldn't even make the fucking actual knockout rounds. We couldn't even make the round of 16, which is crazy to me. But yeah, it's going to go into pretty bad. Again, this Barca team, I'm not going to put it in I cry because, again, it's Europa League similar to Frankfurt. But this Barca team should have done better. And that, guys, is the end of the video. Honestly, the most depressing video I've ever made. But it's good to talk about these losses, man, because once you talk about it out loud, it helps you, let go. It helps you let go of everything that you're holding in. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I love every single one of you. I'm going to be doing a video, by the way, on Barca best moments. So obviously, I'm going to put the UCL wins. I'm talking about mostly 21st century moments that I've seen. So obviously, the UCL wins in Rome, Berlin, and Wembley, they're going to be there. All the Atletico games that we spanked Real Madrid are going to be there. If you guys want to add some more games that you guys want me to rank, let me know in the comment section some great Barca games that you guys come to your mind. And yeah, I'd love to hear it. Also, you can leave it in my Discord. The link is in my description in the suggestions tab. I'm always checking that out to see what you guys want to see. And yeah, guys, I love every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.